your information, the bricks and mortar, right now we have, this is the balance in there.
Well, this, is it on, did you read that out loud?
I gave you a financial year, if you want to look at it.
I think I...
This is minus 310.
$310,000 bricks and mortar.
We had a do.
What courthouse projects do we have on our radar for this year that would require bricks and mortar? We went through a big elevator thing.
Yeah, and we have some cost out there for the addition of the air conditioning in the basement and on the main floor and the second floor. We have those costs coming up. Also, we have the telephone system. I think that we can probably take care of that out of the general fund there without touching bricks and mortar, but that's about, I'm guessing about $24,000, and we should be receiving an invoice. We should have already received it. So we have that cost coming up. Mike, is there anything else you can think of for the courthouse? That's the immediate confirmed air conditioning on all 3 floors. Well, we have the proposal for this one in the basement too that we're going to look at.
What was the cost upstairs? We got an estimate.
Well,
I thought we
had a contract on where we did. Oh, I thought we had a contract.
If help me, Mike, this is for the upstairs on the one from Total Care, and so it's this amount stolen, the 17,000 plus this amount for the electric.
we didn't change anything.
They're ready to start that.
Yeah, they want approval of this tomorrow.
Well, now they're upstairs.
Reallocate numbers.
3.5%. So if you put 2 back on this, you got 1.5 left.
This, what's coming to me out loud here, and Jamie's picking up on it too, is the $30,000 bricks and mortar that we allotted ourselves last year from hotel motel tax. 50% comes off the top for Convention and Visitors Bureau, then $200,000 for emergency services, and then we have taken $30,000 last time, historically around that amount, for our bricks and mortar fund, and then what's left over gets distributed here every year. If we, with a $300,000 plus $316,000, $310,000 bricks and mortar fund, if we this time talk about foregoing our $30,000 bricks and mortar, we feel that we've got enough to withstand a year of courthouse improvements to just drive. That $30,000 would fall back into what gets distributed amongst all the groups. If we didn't make a percentage change at all tonight, but we gave up our $30,000 bricks and mortar, that would theoretically account for an increase in your revenues, all of your revenues. So, Jamie, what were you saying about 3.5%?
Well, somebody made a statement earlier that it was roughly $7,500, $7,800. So if you got $30,000, you're looking at 3.5%, basically, that would add back in.
Yeah.
But when you consider this 50%, once you take the $200,000 off of that, you're dropping that down to probably like 40%, actually.
Oh, well, that's more funny numbers. It's but we've always taken the 200 off. We pay our
right.
We pay our service at 200 first. It is
but off of the complete total, you're still only looking at roughly 40% you divide that.
That's about right. I see what you mean.
I mean,
And
you're calling it
50%,
and you're dividing it up as if it's 100%.
We know the bottom line. That's all we know.
I come up with about $7,761 based on last year's per percentage point.
Now, how are you figuring that?
Well, the hotel motel tax stuff, speaking with Vicki, $131,930 for fiscal year 2011-2012. That's 17%. So you divide that, you get $7,761. That's for FY 2011-2012.
Yeah, that figure's right.
Okay. So with that in mind, 3.8. 3.87%. So you're absolutely on target. So,
Well, essentially, if you keep the 30,000 in there, you would be adding, so if somebody was getting 10% just for even figuring, then there would be an additional 3,000 in their budget. So where none of the numbers add up even, say 16% would be approximately 4,500.
Basically, what it's doing is not changing your percentage,
Right,
but it's putting more money in there to take it out of.
I would be very concerned about the perception we might walk out of here with if we're not careful. But if we somehow, still not following the numbers completely, but if we restored 2% back to Parks and Rec and did take away 2% from libraries, what does this mean again in terms of if we give that $30,000 of bricks and mortar back?
Can I ask you a question? If I'm at 17%, not 18%, so I don't think did we get 2% and then one was taken away later? I thought somebody said it was.
They were at 14
and we
at
had
the beginning
16.
of
We were at 16. We were at
And then-
18, and
and
we
we
were
were-
taken to
And
16.
you were taking 15.
Did we in
I don't know where the
year give a
2%
percentage
went.
point
I
back?
was not 1% for the library. So we're at 17. I haven't been before. Maybe drama there's
Well, I don't know what
Anyway, I'm sorry, I was
happens.
just-
Right now, free libraries, I want to translate to the smaller numerical system, is at 17. Promise fairs and festivals is at 11. Landmarks is at 3. Arts Council is at 3. Parks and Rec is at 16. I don't think there's any disagreement on that. History.
So if you restored 2% to Parks and Rec, you would be restoring about $15,000.
Correct. Yes, that's right.
And you have 30,000 that you're talking about. Which
Yeah,
would
but
leave
to
you
do that,
15,000.
we would have to take that from somebody else.
No, you'd be taking it from your 30,000.
Well, you can't do it that way because it's already divided up into 100%. So if we give you 2% more, we have to take that 2% from somebody else somewhere along the line.
You're not giving it to us.
Well,
You're restoring it.
but it's still
We're not
gonna have
asking
to,
for
it's gonna have to come off of somebody else.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Another possibility is
come out of
for
last
budget.
year.
What's that?
Said 30,000 was taken out of there last year.
True, but when their percentage goes, you can't add 10 to 34% and leave everybody else the same.
Oh, yeah, but if you wanted to just give them $15,000 for what they lost and leave the percentage for everybody else the same, they'd basically be getting
You
what
can't
they're
take
asking
that out
for.
of here and do that, though.
You
Now,
can't.
what's that?
We can't take it out of here and do that.
You can take the 30,000, it wasn't in there to start with.
Yeah, but you can't just write them a check and give it to them, can you?
No.
Well, not
because
now, but
we
we
have
could
to
at budget
divide it
time.
up for the
I don't think
code,
you
for
can.
the local.
Well, if we just gave that up and let them draw an increase in the
You can't
revenue.
do an appropriation, it's
Let
supposed to be because of
them just all
I
benefit from
think
30,000.
Greenbrier County just did a straight up grant. Nobody gets it themselves.
I think we could just write a
People just
check
apply
out
for grants every year.
and take them out of percentages.
Another option. We don't have to tamper with percentages. We have $30,000 that we may not need. That's the big picture. We could just do a budget revision from our bricks and mortar. And we can't decide on this tonight. So it can't be a promise made, but in principle, we could do a budget revision from bricks and mortar of $30,000 into line items. At
Why would
budget
we
time.
do that? We're just not gonna transfer money to bricks and mortar. We have it here. We have it in the hotel motel tax. It's already here, and when we receive $1,000 each month, a share that goes toward paying off that bricks and mortar. Why not just take that share and pay it to someone else?
Yeah, so we could give them the 15,000 they lost this year and stuff. If you wanted to, whatever you want to spend the other 15 for.
You can just write it that way. We don't have to mess with percentages, do we?
You don't have to
I
mess
mean,
with
after all,
percentages. We can divide up that
the proof that we didn't have to
$30,000.
mess with percentages, that
The
we gave
only
ourselves
thing that we
$30,000.
have to do is we cannot do
Yeah,
more
last year
than,
you gave yourself $30,000, it's not a percent, that was straight
no,
up.
So we can just declare as hotel motel tax that we're going to give $15,000 to Parks and Rec, and
to
leave the
whoever
percentage
else.
the same.
Right. As long as we account for, no more than the 200,000 that have to go to Medicare. That's the only thing. The 30,000 we don't have to do.
Right, the 200,000,
We give
we know
someone
we can't
else.
mess around with it. So we could write in up here to give 15,000 to Parks and Rec, leave them at 16%. Again, there's a problem with perception, and we decided to do this kind of thing. I wouldn't want you to feel that we didn't restore your percentage.
Well, the worst thing about putting set amounts on them is if you hit a drastic decrease, for instance, you're going to be spending money that you're never going to receive back.
I guess that's important to know how much
You
you're
know,
drawing already. for
If you
the-
took this percentage and figured it at a dollar amount, say $7,000, and put a number in there, and this year the taxes was 600,000 instead of $1 million, you're committed to this money that you're never going to get.
Right, we're committed to that.
We've talked about this kind of thing before, even in terms of the 200,000 emergency services. And the presumption was we would generate at least the obligatory $230,000 last year. And we already have in 1 month. So it's a good point, but I don't think it really has a real effect.
But the next question is, are we going to add anything else to this year?
We could give
See, we still have $15,000.
$15,000. If we give them 15 Parks and Rec, then we start $15,000 to keep. Or to use.
Or to me, I
add.
think.
Two groups have asked to be added: Preserving Pocahontas and the Artisan Co-op.
Well, we don't physically have it. It's just that we're not going to take it as we did last year. So in essence, we could take that 30,000. If the hotel and motel tax drops, these figures down here can still totally drop. Even though you add the 30,000 back on, they still get less than they did last year, very
Right.
easily.
Right.
So it's not like you're just taking 30,000 because we don't have it to take to begin with. We're just
Now we
We're gonna add it back
distribute
on.
that as we take it in. And if we don't collect $30,000, then we're never going to
That's right,
pay
you're
out
not getting
$30,000.
nothing.
Okay, well, how'd you put that money in the bricks and mortar fund last year?
Well, they took it
When
out
the
first.
money comes in, whenever we receive enough post on motel tax, so write a check with you.
See, then, well, we had the 30,000 there, that doesn't say it first, so.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's there, but we physically don't have it. So if that total number drops, when you're looking at these percentages, and you're going to give them 15,000 to make up the difference, they still could fall short if their percentage was less. You know,
Let me run.
say they lose 20,000 on their percentage, we give them 15,000 as a check. You're still going to be $5,000 less as a total lump.
But you're gonna be better off than you were.
Well, you'll be $15,000
But
better
they would have
off.
been down anyway.
Which
Right.
possibly,
You'll be down.
Right,
right.
you'd have been down anyway.
Just, it
Let's
would be,
try let's try following this idea for a minute. 16% to Parks and Rec at $7,761 per percentage point estimated. That shows an estimated revenue of hotel motel tax for Parks and Rec of $124,176. Let's say you want 15,000 more. That's the best we can do. If I add 15,000 into that 124,176, that's 139,176. Now, if I divide that back out by $7,761 per point, that corresponds to a 17.93%. As instead of 16. So 16 goes to 17.93, and there's nothing that says we have to do whole percentage points. Likewise, if we want to keep, but we have to take a percentage from somewhere else. We're going to raise you from 16% to 17.93. That's an increase of 1.93 in an attempt to get you to restore to Parks and Rec your roughly $15,000. That 1.93% has to come from somewhere else. But paying that remaining $15,000 into the rest of the funds, theoretically we would decrease everyone else's percentage. This is what dangerous. Decrease everyone else's percentage
Aren't you just giving that
to
just?
calculate so that they get the same money.
I thought you just giving that 15 for 1 year.
It's for 1 year.
Yeah, this is always for 1 year. Every year we.
So you wouldn't be touching nobody else's percentage. You got the 30,000 there to give them.
If you put the 30 back in the pool gets bigger, each percent gets
Everybody.
higher, so even if you cut a percent a little, they could have more money.
Mhm.
It's not that complicated.
It's not that complicated. So we're looking at.
Yeah, but the
but
thing
to cut
of it
that
is, the
1.93%.
total lump sum is dropping.
Yeah.
So even though we're adding the 30,000 back to it, the total is still going to be less.
And you never know what it's
The
going
simple way is just give it 30,000.
Your total,
for 1
you'll
year.
never overspend by delineating percentage.
Right. That's the point.
It's not that hard.
Now, let me ask
You don't
you
want
this.
to be doing the line.
Add this and this onto
And it
that.
could go up.
Or
I
do
don't
you think
know.
that's gonna be
It's a
different?
gamble.
That's what we need to decide.
That's okay.
Yes,
Let's
I
talk
I mean,
about
if you're gonna leave them out separate,
That's why I
there's no
can't
need
just
to.
think.
I've got the Odom artist go off and preserve the cost.
You asked for a percentage. You asked for what I'm going to call 1.5% of
of the whole.
the whole, 3% of the bigger banks.
Right.
Well, their 16% is of the whole. Their 3% is 32%.
Okay.
So I'm not changing the
Okay.
units on
Yeah.
All right, let me run this by you real quick.
So that
I
would
find
be,
that all too confusing.
I don't know what the figures
we'd
will
be
be.
asking for about $11,641.
All right. What if we drop the bricks and mortar? That'd be $30,000 if that was in there last year. So we're assuming it's going to be $30,000 again this year. She brought it down, took the Parks and Recs, and put them back 1 more percent. Rather than 2%, give them 1%. If you add the artist co-op and the preserve and Pocahontas, you could give each one of them 1% each per round. Then you're going to have to cut a 0.5% off of all 4 of these remaining ones to make up for that 2%. And then you will need 3%. You have to take more than that.
How many
And then put the 30,000 back in on top of it.
Why don't we just divide the 30,000 up, leave the percentage where they're at? You know, next year if we need 30,000 back, bricks and mortar, we put it back in there.
Divide it how well?
I can
Well, we said we was gonna give Parks and Rec 15,000 of it, so that leaves 15,000 if we're gonna spend it all.
So, what about the artist co-op and preserve those funds?
Right.
Split it.
Well, if we split it 7,500 each, that corresponds to roughly a little less than 1 percentage point. It, in a sense, for this year, almost giving you a full percentage point. In fact, it's 0.97 percentage points, all based on estimated income. I don't know what that's for. It's far short of your 1.5% request.
Well, how about I can
Maybe.
still come and ask for money in the budgeting process, and then try to make up the rest with the grant. See, I see that as workable.
And Brenda, you didn't ask for a specific amount. You asked for consideration.
Right.
Maybe we could go with 5 and 5 and leave 5 and bricks and mortar. We could have a bad year, I don't know.
That would be smart.
Well, 5 ain't gonna cover you if you do have a catastrophe there.
Well, I know, but it would help.
Observatory's going to need money.
We just bought 2 generators so that we can be at shelter. Again.
Also, we've already got the one for this year. I'm glad you told us that. I'll relay that message to Sean and Herbie. So we've got the first one. So, you relay that to Herbie.
All right, how does this sound? If you leave the percentages the same, give Parks and Recreation this year 15,000 of the 30. So there's still 30 there. 5,000 of the artist co-op, 5,000 to preserve Pocahontas, and that'll leave 5,000 in there. So basically, what we need to do is drop that to 5,000.
You couldn't have the form of a motion.
let's, we'll need to do these motions. Let's start here and go down through so that we can keep them in order.
Start where?
At the top, you see, out there at the top, at first we made a motion to Pocahontas Memorial. That means out of the 50% that's left, we pay Pocahontas Memorial first.
Well, how
Then
can
we
we
go-
not do that, though? We've
Technically-
already paid them.
The order that we approve these things, is the order we're going to pay.
They're
Technically,
already been paid.
we have to move technically, don't we, to say the CBD gets 50%?
Yes.
Okay, that's a motion.
So,
You don't have to do that.
that's right.
Are there any objections?
No.
Not. Motion carried. We do have a motion on emergency medical.
It's two hospitals, there's second.
Oh, okay. Pocahontas Memorial Hospital.
75,000 as before, I move.
Thank you. Are there any objections to the motion? Not they will receive 75,000.
Now,
The next
in
one
that-
is emergency medical. Is there a motion?
I move that we give Pocahontas County Emergency Medical Services $75,000 for the hotel hotel.
Are there any objections? If not, it's approved. Pocahontas County Firemen's Association, 50,000.
So moved.
Are there any objections? Not approved. And the bricks and mortar fund, are we going to divvy it out now? Is there a motion to give Parks and Rec 15,000 of the bricks and mortar fund?
Well, I guess we need to move that we're gonna leave $5,000 in the Pocahontas County Bricks and Mortar.
Okay.
Okay, bricks
That's
and
a
mortar is
motion.
5.
Yeah. Are there any objections? 5,000 stay in the bricks and mortar fund.
Just meant you're getting more than that. Jamie, you need 5,000 bricks and mortar.
Yeah.
Now we need to move to Parks and Rec.
All right, I move that we give Parks and Rec above their percentage an additional $15,000.
And what is the percentage for that motion?
Are there any?
And the percentage of,
Well, that'll be in the bottom, the motion at the bottom.
I'm sorry.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
all right,
So we got Parks and Rec. Now we need to move on to the other two.
all right, I move that we give the Artisans Co-op $5,000 of the hotel motel tax.
Are there any objections to the motion? It's approved.
And now we have 5,000 more.
I move that we give Preserving Pocahontas $5,000 for the hotel motel tax.
Any objections? Being none, motion approved.
Now, then we need to make a motion to give the remaining balances as follows, after the payment of all these other amounts.
All right, I move that we give the remaining 100% of the 50% left.
Just read up there in the last year's language, Jamie, and that'll
All
cover.
right, we're at,
Upon a motion made to set all amounts and percentages for this calendar year after the above mentioned amounts as follows.
okay.
I'm going to change units on you now. Hang with me.
Pocahontas County Parks and Recreation, 32%. Pocahontas County Free Libraries, 34%. Pocahontas County Arts Council, 6%. Pocahontas County Landmarks Commission, 6%. And Pocahontas County Dramas, Fairs, and Festivals, 22%. Said calculations being 100% of the remaining 50%.
David, that's just for your language.
I'm so sorry. I apologize to everyone. We'll fix that next week.
Any objections to the motion? It's approved.
Put that in the trash.
Takes care of the